Well, hello everyone, and welcome to another episode of Magic Gamer 74. I'm your host, Anthony Gamer, and today we're going to continue on with our discussion of great cards from the expansion Ice Age. Now, in our previous episode, we discussed some parts of, or some of the colors of this great expansion, which again was the first expansion that I ever purchased. This came out around the same time that I first started getting into Magic the Gathering. So we're going to continue on, and I believe we should be able to wrap it up with this episode and then move on to our next expansion. As always, please check the disclaimer in the comments, down below, as it will save both of us a lot of headaches. And without further ado, let's get into the cards.
And let's begin. Our first is the color green, and we have Balduvian Bears. This 2/2 creature casts for 1 colorless and 1 green, a 2 for 2. If you'd like to add this card to your collection, it will cost you 28 cents, and it's been reissued 1 time. And next up, we have the brown oof. That kind of oof. I think that's how you pronounce it. It sounds like the sound you make when someone punches you in the gut. And this is a 1 for 1. It also has a cool fast effect. Tap 1 colorless, tap 1 green, tap it. Counter target activated ability from an artifact source. Kind of cool, huh? If you'd like to add this card to your collection, it will cost you 9 cents, and it was reissued 1 time. Endorn Elder. Ugh, I tell you, that's definitely not Legolas. Anyway, this 1/1 creature casts for 2 colorless and 1 green. If you tap him, it adds 2 green mana to your mana pool, which is kind of cool. If you'd like to add this card to your collection, it will cost you 27 cents, and it's been reprinted several times. And next up we have the Findhorn Elves. As you know, elves themselves do help each other out and pump each other and do other things in later expansions. And this is a cool one because not only is it a 1/1 for 1, it also adds green mana, much like a Llanowar Elf. If you'd like to add this card to your collection, it will only cost you $1.53, and it's been reissued a couple times. Next up is a card that should be in just about every green deck, and that is Giant Growth. This instant casts for 1 green, and target creature gets +3/+3 until end of turn. And this card is still around to this day. If you'd like to add it to your collection, it will only cost you 14 cents, and it's been reprinted several times. Speaking of staples, the next card is another one that should be in just about every green deck, especially if you have powerful creatures or if you have creatures with Death Touch, and that is Lure. This enchantment casts for 1 colorless and 2 green. Enchant creature. All creatures able to block enchanted creature do so. If you'd like to add this card to your collection, it will cost you 24 cents, and it's been reprinted several times. And next up, we have Nature's Lore. A well-built green deck should always focus on getting land out as quickly as possible, and this is a card that will help you out with that. This sorcery casts for 1 colorless and 1 green. Search your library for a forest card, put that card onto the battlefield, then shuffle. Cool thing about this, it doesn't come into play tapped like some others do. If you'd like to add this card to your collection or your green deck, it will cost you $1.68, and it's been reprinted several times. Next up, we have Tarpan, another 1/1 for 1. This is a pretty cool creature, and when it dies, you gain 1 life. If you'd like to add this card to your green deck, it will cost you 12 cents, and it was reissued 1 time. And next up, we have Whiteout. This instant casts for 1 colorless and 1 green. All creatures lose flying until end of turn. Sacrifice a snowland. Return Whiteout from your graveyard to your hand. And I'll talk about the snowlands at the end of the video. If you'd like to add this card to your collection, it will cost you 29 cents, and it was not reprinted. Next up, we have Wild Growth. That goes along with what I was saying earlier about a well-built green deck. This is a definite must for any green deck. All right, this enchantment casts for 1 green. Whenever enchanted land is tapped for mana, its controller adds an additional 1 green. Pretty cool. If you'd like to add this card to a green deck, it will cost you 25 cents, and it has been reprinted a few times. And next up, we have a card that really says Ice Age, and that is Woolly Mammoths. This 3/2 creature cast for 1 colorless and 2 green. Woolly Mammoths has trample as long as you control a snowland. If you'd like to add this card to your green deck or your snow-themed deck, it won't cost you very much. It's currently worth around 23 cents, and it was reprinted 1 time. And our final green card is this one. We had a woolly mammoth, now we have a woolly spider. I never did have a tarantula that looked like that, though, honestly. This 2/3 creature casts for 1 colorless and 2 green, and like all giant spiders in Magic, it has reach, which means this creature can block creatures with flying. Whenever woolly mammoth blocks a creature with flying, woolly spider, I just said woolly mammoth, sorry, woolly spider gets +0/+2 until end of turn. If you'd like to add this card to your deck, it will only cost you 17 cents, and it's been reprinted a couple times. And next up, we are starting with artifacts, and our first artifact is a reissue from a previous set, and that is Icy Manipulator. My best friend loves this card. This artifact casts for 4, tap 1, tap it, tap target artifact, creature, or land. Yep. Really a card I don't like playing against, but if you'd like to add it to your collection or one of your decks, it will only cost you 69 cents, and it was reprinted many times before that. Speaking of favorite cards, the next one is one of my personal favorites, and that is Jester's Cap. It casts for 4, tap 2, tap it, sacrifice Jester's Cap. Search target player's library for 3 cards and exile them. Then that player shuffles. Oh yeah, love playing with this card. It's one of the more expensive cards from this set, but it's not real expensive. If you'd like to add it to one of your decks, it will cost you $7.75, and it's been reprinted a few times. We have the Jester's Cap, now we have the Jester's Mask. This artifact casts for 5. Jester's Mask enters the battlefield tap. Tap 1, tap it, sacrifice Jester's Mask. Target opponent puts the cards from their hand on top of their library. Search that player's library for that many cards. That player puts those cards into their hand, then shuffles. Oh yeah, I've really ruined people's days with this card before. If you'd like to add it to one of your decks, it will cost you $6.86, and it has not been reprinted. They say the best things in life are free, and this kind of is proof of that. And that is the Zuran Orb, our final artifact for today. It casts for 0, sacrifice a land, you gain 2 life. Kind of a high price to pay, but if you're playing green or one of those other colors where you get a lot of land out quick, it can really help you in a pinch. If you'd like to add this card to your green deck, it won't cost you too much. It's currently worth $5, and it has been reprinted a couple times. And so now we move into the gold cards. All right, and our first one for today is Centaur Archer. This 3/2 mean-looking sucker will cast for 1 colorless, 1 green, and 1 red. Tap him, Centaur Archer deals 1 damage to target creature with flying. Nice, especially people that like those little 1/1 flyers coming at you. Yeah, they're not going to like this card. However, if you would like to add this card to your green and red deck, it will only cost you 19 cents, and it has not been reprinted. All right, and next up we have Essence Vortex. I bet a lot of people like this card just because of the artwork. You pervs. Anyway, this instant casts for 1 colorless, 1 blue, and 1 black. Destroy target creature unless its owner pays life equal to its toughness. A creature destroyed this way can't be regenerated. Oh yeah, and this is really good against those big creatures that your opponents seem to love to bring out, and I guarantee they will cry. If you'd like to add this powerful yet not very expensive card to your deck, it will only cost you 31 cents, but it was not reprinted. Next up we have another gold card that really shows 2 colors that go together like peanut butter and jelly, and that is green and white. This sorcery casts for 3 colorless, 1 green, and 1 white. Put target creature card from a graveyard onto the battlefield under your control. Notice it says a graveyard, not necessarily your graveyard. If you'd like to add this card to your green and white deck, it will cost you 23 cents, and it was not reprinted. And our final gold card for today is the Geldorian Frost Beast. I personally have this card in my white and green deck. This 2/4 creature casts for 3 colorless, 1 green, and 1 white. Now, before you're saying that that's a high casting cost for a kind of a smaller creature, listen to its fast effect. At end of combat, destroy all creatures blocking or blocked by Keldorian Frost Beast. Now, why is that a good thing? Well, throw a lure on it and wipe out your opponent's creatures. Oh yeah, and guess what? There's a lure for this expansion. If you'd like to add this card to your white and green deck, it will cost you 18 cents and it has not been reprinted. And finally, we come to lands. And the only lands I really would like to discuss today are the snow-covered lands. Each particular color has their own snow-covered lands, and they're not really that expensive. They usually range about $2 or less for each of these. And as you learned, there are some cards that benefit from using these snow-covered lands. And they, of course, they do also use their regular mana, produce their regular mana. And later on, in another expansion, that being Cold Snap, you would see them make a return. So if you get a chance to add any of these to your deck, and I know buying basic lands sometimes is crazy, but it may be an investment that you might want to make. And that brings us to the end of this episode of Magic Gamer 74. I really hope you all enjoyed it. On top of that, I really hope you learned something and you discovered some new cards to add to your decks. And so the big question is, what is next? Well, the next expansion we're going to talk about is Alliances. Yep. Another kind of small set with some pretty useful cards in it, so please make sure you do not miss that episode. And also keep an eye out for my Magic Gamer 74 extras. You never know when they're going to pop up. If you have any suggestions of cards that I might have missed, or actually would like to share some of your own stories of games you played, I'd love to hear about it, so feel free to contact me, excuse me. I'm really there. Having a hard time talking today. Feel free to contact me on any of my social media platforms or in the comment section below. Well, Planeswalkers, until next time, I will see you all in the arena. Bye for now.